Hi friends, Alicia here from Malenko Yarn Crafts. Thank you for joining me today, and in today's tutorial I will show you how to crochet the crunch stitch. This is another easy stitch that uses a combo of different heights of stitches to create a great 3D texture. If you like the lemon peel stitch, you will love this one too. This stitch is also frequently called the even moss stitch, not to be confused with a regular moss stitch. And the only difference is how you start each row, but they're otherwise the same. This pattern is reversible, so it looks the same on both sides, and due to its gritty texture, it is great for washcloths. Plus, it looks really cool, doesn't it? Alright, so grab your hook and let's get started. For this stitch, we're going to chain any multiple of 2 plus 1. In my simple today, I am going to chain 33, so 32 plus 1. I'm going to start with my slip knot and then chain 33. So any multiple of 2 would be 10, 12, 14, and so on, and then add one more. Okay, so I have 33 chains, and I'm going to start working on row 1. To work on row 1, we're going to start with a slip stitch into the third chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, and I do like to work into the back bumps of these chains. So to work a slip stitch, we're going to insert our hook into that third chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, and pull this loop all the way through the loop on your hook. The first 2 skip chains are going to count as a half double crochet. Into the next chain, we're going to work a half double crochet. To work that, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3. We're going to repeat the pattern of working 1 slip stitch and then 1 half double crochet. So into the next one, I'm going to work a slip stitch, and then I have double into the next one, and so on until the end of the row. So 1 slip stitch, 1 half double, so go ahead and work 1 slip stitch, 1 half double until the end of the row, and your very last stitch should be a slip stitch. Okay, I'm at the end of row 1, and I just worked 1 half double crochet, and I have 1 more chain left, and I am going to work my last slip stitch into this chain, and my row is finished. So we started the row with a half double crochet, which is those 2 skipped chains. Then we worked a slip stitch, a half double, slip stitch, half double, and so on until the end of the row, and we finished the row in a slip stitch. To start on row 2, we're going to chain 2 and turn. These 2 chains are going to count as our first half double crochet. For row 2, we're going to work the same pattern, so we had a half double here, then we are going to work a slip stitch into this next stitch right here. So if you look at your stitches here, this very first one doesn't count because the chain comes out of it. So this is technically our first stitch. So then this is our next stitch. We're going to work a slip stitch into it. Now we're going to work a half double crochet, and then a slip stitch, and so on until the end of the row. So basically the pattern is we have to work our half double crochets into the slip stitches from the row below, and then we will work our slip stitches into the half double crochets from the row below. Okay, so half double on top of a slip stitch, and a slip stitch on top of a half double, and so on until the end of the row. If you want to be able to find your half double crochets in the previous row, if you look at the pattern that is forming here, you will notice that you have these diagonal lines forming in your pattern. So these are the lines from your half double crochets. So if you lose track, you should always know that the stitch with that diagonal line is a half double crochet, which means you'll have to work a slip stitch into it. So here I have a slip stitch, so I'm going to work a half double, and then here I can see my half double crochet from previous row, and I'm going to work a slip stitch into it. Right, so we're just going to work this until the end of the row, and you should end your row in a slip stitch. So I am at the end of row 2, and I just worked a half double crochet, so I do need to end my row in a slip stitch. And the slip stitch is worked into a half double, and as we said earlier, our chain 2 counts as a half double crochet, so we're going to slip stitch into the top of this turning chain. Okay, so this is our chain right here. It might be a little bit difficult to find it at first, but you will get used to it with time. So I'm going to slip stitch into that last one, and row 2 is finished. This is a 1 row repeat, so row 2 is going to be repeated throughout the entire pattern for as many rows as you wish. So we're going to chain 2 and turn, and this is going to count as a half double crochet, and we're going to do the same thing we did in row 2. And if you are a beginner and having trouble finding that turning chain at the end of the row to slip stitch into it, I would recommend that you mark that top chain with a stitch marker every time. There we go. This way, when you come back on the next row, you will be able to find that chain that you need to slip stitch into. Okay, so this is my first half double, and I'm just going to repeat row 2 for the rest of the rows. So slip stitch into a half double, then work a half double into a slip stitch, and so on until the end of the row, and then we're going to slip stitch into that turning chain there at the end. Okay, and this is what it would look like if you were to mark your top chain with a stitch marker. It would be easier to find. So here I have to work 1 more half double crochet, and this is where my last slip stitch is going to go. Here we go. This is all there is to the stitch, so you're just going to keep repeating the same row. Okay, so thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will try to answer all of them. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications every time I upload a new video.